What are the main differences in design considerations for gamblers and snooker as compared to standard and jumpers?
I think the big thing is standard and jumpers is a numbered course, right? So you're pretty much limited to, not to your design, but what you're running, 1 through 15, 1 through 17, whatever that course is, 1 through 20. But in gamblers and snooker, it's a strategy game, and you may have 100 dogs go through that standard course, and you maybe, like Stuart said earlier, we're not catering to one handling strategy. But in snooker and gamblers, you have no idea what they're going to do out there, right? So it's a complete new ballgame with those courses every time a dog walks on the start line. So it's all about strategy.
And we almost shouldn't, have a course that's totally predictable. Everybody runs the same thing, and we should be able to have a lot of options to be able to have different styles of whatever they want to do, so that it doesn't get so monotonous that it's like watching a standard course.
Right. So when I'm out judging and reviewing courses like snooker, I would not desire that I see every dog can complete this course with 1-5, 1-5, 1-5, and everybody's queuing, right? Let's have the course have options. So many different type of paths through that course.
Risk reward.
Exactly, risk reward.
As a judge, one of the best compliments you can get on a snooker course is, wow, that had a lot of options. That ran really well. That makes you feel good as a judge. Your design is working, the courses are running well, and the handlers are out there having a good time on your courses.
But it's also important to remember that the attributes that are expected at those levels as starters should be presented in the games classes as well. Right? I think
Correct.
That's a pretty important part. Masters should have master's level challenges in the snooker course, in the closing, as well as the starter course should not have master's level challenges in the closing of snooker. Those attributes are expected across all classes.
Kind of along the same vein, with the advent of Masters Challenge classes over the last couple of years, what are some of the biggest differences and challenges for these courses as compared to Masters titling courses, to which everyone has grown accustomed to? And what's the biggest challenge for judges in learning to use these challenges effectively and fairly?
Actually, the biggest challenge is to get the judges used to the concept of using a lot of the more complex compound challenges and using them enough. One of the things that we're going to try and push a little bit is we're going to start requiring compound challenges on the master's courses. 1, maybe 2, but usually 1, because we want judges to get very used to the concept of learning to use and design with these challenges. We're also pushing the concept of using combinations on the master's courses, again, so that judges learn the best ways to challenge a handler and yet still keep the course from feeling like it's just the drudgery of one technical challenge after another. And as we see our master's judging corps get more used to using these type of challenges, we think our challenge courses, the master challenge courses, will get a lot more sophisticated in their level, both of the technical ability required of the handler and the speed that the handlers and dogs are going to be able to confidently negotiate these courses.
Well, the other aspect of that is the presentation of those challenges within the levels could change, so that a particular type of challenge may be appropriate for both levels, but presented slightly differently, or maybe better said, more critically in a Master's Challenge course than it would be in a Master's course.
USDAA judges go through considerable study and a stringent examination process in order to be listed as an approved judge. what are the biggest challenges in the beginning for new judges or prospects in learning to design courses?
I think the hardest thing is probably incorporating all the stuff they have to learn at the judging clinic and trying to integrate it. That's a pretty hard thing to do initially, and it doesn't come easily to, I just think, just about anybody. And I think, you know, a lot of it has to come with just doing it a lot and being able to, you know, see what goes on and what works and what doesn't. So I don't think it's just a matter of designing courses. I also think it's a matter of, you know, having prospective judges go out and watch courses that are being run and see what they think is working, what they think is not working, and you know, just that little detail that they can take back, so when they design courses they can have a better feel for what they're actually putting on paper.
Another challenge is, let's say you go to a judge's clinic and you become a judge, but you're running at the master's level, and sometimes you forget how it feels to be on a starter's level course and what that course design should look like. And then the same is true on the other side. If you've got somebody new coming into the sport that may just have a starter's level mentality or a starter's level dog, it's going to be more difficult for them to know the elements that go into the higher level of classes.
So how long does it take a judge to become an expert at course design?
I don't think you ever become an expert at course design. I think that you're always constantly having to learn, and you know, one thing I like about coming to these meetings is that you always get either a fresh perspective or a renewed perspective about what we're looking for, because we do, you know, after a certain point you can get stale with it too.
It's always evolving.
It's ever evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an expert now on the courses I designed 10 years ago.
And I think as judges, we have to, and as designers, we have to be not afraid to take a few chances, try a few new things, but also critically evaluate what you tried and say, that didn't work, that did work.
And not take it personally when it didn't work.
Right.
And sometimes as a reviewer, a judge will come up with a particularly creative idea. And one problem with the whole reviewing process is that we actually cannot be there at the trial to see how well it works out or not. So sometimes we'll ask the judges to get back to us after the event and say, well, how did that interesting snooker roll you came up with, strategy roll, how well did that work? And we can fold that back into our future reviewing.
I think too, one of the most important concepts still to keep in mind is that when you're designing courses, it should be for a good average dog to be able to compete and do well on that course and hopefully qualify.
You know, I think one thing, and I think we all agree on this, is one of the reasons we get together like this is that for USDAA, our course design is right at the core of USDAA agility. I think it's one of the things that makes this venue unique, and why we put so much time and effort into course design and into reviewing courses.
Well, everybody touches the courses. I mean, you got the judges designing them, you got the course reviewer reviewing them, you got the handlers running them, and you got the spectators watching them. So, I mean, everybody's engaged in that course. So, yeah, we want to make sure that fits our philosophy, and it's exactly what we want everybody to see and run and enjoy.
Well, I think the creative leeway that judges are given helps keep course design fresh. New elements find their way into the course design process and find their way from one end of the country to the other. And you know, if you look back 5 years ago, what courses looked like 5 years ago as compared to today, I think the differences are pretty apparent. But I think that keeps it exciting for our competitors to be able to come out and expect something new and refreshing every time they come to a trial.